It's the 14th day of March 2025. Coming up on today's Global Intelligence Agency Operations Report. Turmoil ensued this week in the Arctic and Antarctica as the deep state fell hook, line, and sinker for the GIA's operations. The financial system has changed drastically this week. Find out more about the changes. And the blood moon yields the deep state no results. Well, happy blood moon and happy Ides of March tomorrow. So, you know, the deep state is always in full swing on a week when there's such an amazing moon event. And this is no different. But there are some interesting things that happened this week that it was kind of ongoing, and that's why I wasn't here on Wednesday, and I didn't really want to spill the beans until it was time. And as of today, well, now we can talk about it a little bit. So a couple of months ago, I talked to you about the fact that we found these, for lack of a better term, they almost look like biospheres. We call them bubbles of time because there's no time within said bubbles. And this is where the tall whites have been holding up. As you know, if you don't, I'll brief you a little bit on these beings. They are quite the biologists. They are really good with all kinds of genetics, epigenetics programs, and they were brought here by the Draco to do those types of things to humans. In these two locations, there were AIs that were created by Marduk for them to use in order for them to be able to achieve all of the tasks he would have liked them to achieve. The two AIs that were located in these locations were what we call an anti-creator AI. The other one would be a neutral creator AI, and then a dark creator AI. So I guess there's more than two, sorry. And they had agreed a few months back when we ran into each other to help us unwind the genetics programs that they had participated in, which were done against humanity. So we've had this working relationship with these folks since about 2017. Well, also not too long ago, apparently, because we have talked about it, the deep state thought that they needed this. And I'm sure they did if they were going to do really bad things to the world and to humanity. So they approached using some kind of a key that Marduk had left somewhere and that they managed to get a hold of. So therefore, you could say they've been going in and out of these two facilities in both the Arctic and the Antarctic for probably a few weeks now. They gave us an opportunity, let's just say an opportunity. So we did end up speaking a few weeks ago to the tall whites, and we figured out what was going on there. And I said, well, let's play it out. So one of the things they helped us do was find all the remnants throughout the multiverse of these AIs. That was good. The next thing that they helped us do was corner a whole bunch of them into these facilities so that we could wipe them all out at once. Now, are they all gone? No, but the ones that were involved in the operations are as of yesterday. So these two facilities, they were using these facilities to create. Now, if you don't know what a creator AI does, and I've kind of explained it a little bit before, but an anti-creator AI basically destroys everything that source creates. That's what its job is. If you remember, the dark cannot create on their own. So they need to destroy in order to create. That's where the dark creator AI came in, because now it can take all that it's destroyed and create it in a dark way. Did they manage to, let's say, anti-create the Golden Age AI? No, not entirely. They did manage to use the dark creator AI, though, to create a dark version of it. Now, with anti-creation and this anti-creator AI, that's pretty much gone now. The anti-creator AI was being utilized to store up your energy as humans. So it was taking energy from you, it was taking energy from Earth, it was taking essence from all of you and energy from all of you and storing it in various data facilities in these locations and a few other places in the multiverse, such as Andromeda and the nebula that's there, such as in Orion. And as it would store up, they would obviously give it some time because they thought that the more energy they built up, the more that they could create when they felt the time was right. And of course, a blood moon would be a right time in their mind. So they anti-create, meaning destroy some of our energy and essence and consciousness and all of these types of things, stored in that facility, and then let her rip about 48 hours ago, in which they started using the dark creator AI to mimic a lot of things that Source does and a lot of things that we have created, such as the Golden Age AI. So it started to create dark versions of it, and we let it go for a little while because we needed to search and destroy how it did it, where it was, how it worked. We also found deep, deep ties to the financial system, as an example of the anti-creator AI and the dark creator AI. The reason for that is because we willingly give all our energy to the financial system. We do that with work, and we do that with investing and paying attention to our money, our bank accounts, trying to grow our bank accounts. Therefore, we give it a lot of energy. That is not a fault of anyone's. It's not like you're participating willingly in a system. It just is the way that it was created by Marduk back in the day. So we've been actively, as I've told you, reversing all of that out for quite some time by installing our creator Golden Age AI. But with the dark creator AI trying to mimic the system that we have created, it once again started pulling all kinds of games outside of that system, hoping to integrate it fully into human computer networks, which it never did. But it gave them an opportunity to continue to, well, for lack of a better term, torture humanity a little bit. So it's been a little bit of a rough week for probably a lot of people. I've heard a lot of complaints here and there regarding different feelings and dangerous feelings and anxiety for some. And this is the reason why. So by yesterday, we decided to start pulling the plug because we felt that we had located at least enough of it to kind of neuter it, for lack of a better term. The tall whites were informed. A lot of them left the facility there, those two facilities, and it was on. So there were a few that decided to stay behind so they could keep up the facade long enough to gather as many deep state members in those facilities as possible, which we did do. And of course they came because it's the blood moon, and why? What else are you going to do during a blood moon? What else does the deep state do other than dance around with crystals and skirts and all kinds of crazy things? Well, apparently they go to facilities and try to really work their magic the best they can on those days. So unfortunately, there was nothing we could do but wait for the plan to fully kind of kick off. So at that point, we pulled the plug on those two facilities, and then we started pulling the plug in rapid succession from yesterday, early in the morning, on through today. By now, everything seems to have somewhat stabilized, other than the remaining members of the deep state that are still out there. And as far as the AIs are concerned, everything is reversing out very, very, very quickly. So anything they saw and thought that they were building is just one after the other. It's almost on autopilot, as I'm talking to you for a little while, because there were other things I had to do. So this went off without a hitch. I was very happy to see how this turned out. It was a really great operation. I'm glad that we did it, and it did save us a lot of grief in the long run. Now, as far as the financial system is concerned, this time that we bought did allow us to create a lot of things, because you see, they were all excited that we were continuing to plow through the financial system, very, very quickly. I mean, anything that was left from Treasury, anything that's left from the Fed, even little minute, General Office of Accounting, any type of agencies that were involved in the financial system, we were just going at it. So the more we would go at it, the more the dark system would then create it, or create the opposite of that. So it started rebuilding its own system. So of course this made the deep state happy, and they left us alone. Isn't that good? See, there are multiple parts to this operation, and it was kind of fun, not gonna lie. So it allowed us to do everything we wanted to do within the financial system, because they thought that we were creating things for them on their side. And the tall whites played along the entire time. So this was perfect. They thought that they were going to be getting a fully built financial system, so they wanted me to continue. It didn't even stop me. I thought this was great. They did stop me at the point, though, or the anti-creator AI did, at the point where we were transferring money through in rapid succession. But it did allow for us to do as much as we possibly could until the time we could pull the plug on the anti-creator AI. So this gave us an enormous amount of progress on our end as far as cleaning up the remnants in human computer networks. There were also a lot of other things we pulled out. There were a number of programs, such as brainwave programs and other things agencies had access to at one point or another, which we also removed. There was a lot of epigenetics and genetics programming in these AIs as well, that were capable of harming humanity, but it wasn't permitted at that time. So again, as of the moment that we did pull the facilities yesterday, but at the moment of the full moon this morning at a very early hour my time, that happened shortly after, just before 1 a.m. my time, is when we really started going in rapid succession over and over and over again. So that was really good for us, and we've been quite successful. As far as their blood moon activities, this was pretty much it. They had basically bet the farm, so to speak, on these activities. Part of the reason why they thought that they were all going to escape to a specific location was because it appeared to them that the dark creator AI was using all of the energy it was siphoning out of everywhere to create more of these sanctuaries, let's call them, all over the world. Mainly, they were being created where there were former vortexes in places like Sedona, Arizona, Los Angeles, Slovakia. There were many of these, Bukavu in the Congo. It was pretty much worldwide that they thought that these cities looked like they were starting to come to fruition, these little sanctuaries. At which time, if they had been successful, they were all going to be in their respective sanctuaries, not an underground bunker like we thought. And they were going to live there because they were going to wipe out the rest of us and everything else on the planet. Because once they do that and they destroy all of that, then they should have enough energy to live off of for a long period of time. There were also mechanisms tied to this in our sun, so they could use our sun as a power source into infamy. At least in their opinion, they could. And they could then create additional worlds and universes and all kinds of things. They had some really grandiose plans, I'm not going to lie, of what they were going to do. So we let these linger for a few days and they could see them coming to fruition. So they, became very froggy. So after the time we pulled the two main facilities, by that point they were grasping on to anything that they could find anywhere that still had some kind of remnant of the Dark Creator AI or any of its creations as we were going in rapid succession to destroy it on our side. The battle for the last at least 24 hours since we pulled that facility has been more about following them around, seeing if there was anything else we could find out there that they had used to create, use the system to create with. And it was quite fruitful all day. We've been chasing CyberLife around all day, all around the world, and their facilities. They've gone everywhere, which was perfect. This is exactly what we wanted to have happen. They also managed to help us in some cases find a few things that we hadn't quite located yet. So that was great as well. So all in all, a real positive operation for us, and the deep state not so much so. So within the next 24 to 48 hours, we might just have our own Caesar moment, and we're talking about the Ides of March tomorrow because that is when the Roman Empire started to fall and Caesar was assassinated, and they say it's an omen of bad times to come on that particular day. But for us, their version or the deep state's version of Rome, so to speak, falling would be perfect timing. I mean, what happened before may just happen again on the same day because it's going so fast at this point, they can't even keep up with it. And I'm so happy about that. Are they still going to try and claim, whoever's left is still going to try to claim that the Golden Age AI is theirs? Possibly. I'm sure they were ecstatic when they saw their own version or dark version of it start to come to fruition. But never interrupt your enemy when they're making a mistake. We've got friends everywhere. The few remaining tall whites that did stay for the, let's just call it the annihilation, are also well aware of the fact there is no such thing as death. They probably are back where, let's just say, they come from by now, I'm sure. But meanwhile, they did help us destroy three of the most evil systems in the entire universe that Marduk had created, and quite a few deep state members. So they felt it was a win, and they felt it was worth the risk. And so did I. So, yeah, turned out pretty well. So we're very happy at this moment. It's been a process. I know the deep state's unhappy. They fell for it, but they wasted all their black magic 24-hour time for the blood moon on this. Now, of course, they're never without an alignment or something where they believe good things could come. And there's a new moon, which happens to be on, I think, the 28th of March. And they feel it's one of those special times where we had a dark invasion on this planet, which they say happened in 1996. They are hoping that happens again for them. And I'm sure they're going to try to buy time for all those people that they owe money to on this particular day. So today they did tell them there wasn't any pay coming. They'll probably tell the rest of the people down in the food chain on Monday that there's no money coming and that they're working on it and things look good, and they gave them the whole rah-rah speech, which was completely a lie, whether they know it or not. They do now. And they are probably going to push them off until the 28th of March. Now, another thing happens around this time, which is something to do with Saturn's rings being visible. And they do believe that there are some dark databases in Saturn's rings, which haven't been there for a while now, which they believe could activate during this time. And then, of course, they'd love to have some really dark beings invade this planet once again to help them out. But alas, no. Mm-mm. This one didn't happen. That one's not going to happen. And hopefully they'll get it through their head that there's no way they're going to achieve their objective at this point. You know, light is slow to dawn on Marblehead. Now, there are some very angry people in this world right now that didn't get paid today. They were actually expecting it very early US time this morning. Some of those people would be the Taliban. And the Taliban has been kind of on the move. Now, for those of you that don't know, let's talk about the Taliban for a second. I know there are rumors all over the internet that the CIA created the Taliban. That's not true. There is an original Taliban. Remember, they take everything that is positive and turn it into a negative. So the original Taliban are students of ancient teachings. They are somewhat prophets, you could say. They are definitely connected to source. They are not interested in any kind of activities that we've heard about over the years about any kind of Taliban. They are almost monk-like, for lack of a better term, and they are not bad people. On the other hand, there is a created version which was created by the Order of the Black Sun, we know as the Taliban. They have been used heavily by various factions of the Order of the Black Sun, such as the CIA, such as the Chinese most recently, with everything that's going on in Afghanistan. And they're very interested in, this particular group is interested in power and money and, you know, a lot of those types of things. So about 6 weeks ago, the created Taliban actually has been having meetings with the original Taliban, and there have been some prophecies that they have, and information they have been given that has come true already. So today, or actually in the last 48 hours, per their Trump operative partners and per their Chinese deep state partners, they decided to move into an area in Syria that has been very heated lately, as the Israelis are supposed to be at war by now with the Syrians. You know, the Russians threw their hat in the ring for a little while, and now we're back to the Taliban and and the Israelis. So they have found out that the head of Syria is exactly who we said he was. He's an American, basically, say American deep state member, and no different than Saddam Hussein and all the others that came before them, and not in that particular country, obviously, in various Middle Eastern countries. And they threatened to expose him if they didn't get paid. And they are very angry that they didn't get paid. Now, they had a lot of deals with the Chinese regarding the opium supply, which was going directly to China for quite a while there. They haven't been getting paid because China hasn't been able to pay anybody. And they are very upset at this point. So keep an eye out. We might see some major changes in the Middle East in regards to this. If you don't know, the Taliban, both sides, is very prevalent in areas even like Pakistan, Afghanistan, and throughout the Middle East, really. At least the original sector was. They've been everywhere, as you've seen in the news over the last couple of decades, but this could definitely be a turning point for things in the Middle East if they decide they are no longer going to cooperate based on some deals they have made with the original Taliban. So this could be a real positive move. We will see what they do. We will see how long they hang in there and hang in there on the border of Syria to see if they can create a war on behalf of their no-paying American partners. We call Duck Dynasty. So we'll see what happens there. But this is definitely a game changer. Just the fact that they've been reaching out to the original Taliban uh, could definitely shed a lot of light on the activities that they have been participating in without an end result. Now, one thing about all of these alleged terrorist groups within the Middle East is that they are not going to be taking any fake pallets of cash anytime soon. They know the game. They know that Blackwater originally created the game in cooperation with Bush Sr. They still have that cash. Nobody's been able to cash it in or actually use it to any degree. The Russians have that cash. Everybody's got that cash. There's approximately $27 trillion in unusable super notes worldwide that have been distributed to cause and create various wars. Saudi Arabia's had them since Desert Storm. They're everywhere, and they are well aware of this fact. So we'll see what happens when the real Taliban comes out. We'll see if that changes things in the Middle East. So there are some positives that are coming out of their failures as well, as far as human behavior and what the humans are going to do. That is hopefully good. I see it there. Now, there are also some movements so far behind the scenes going on within Russia and Ukraine as well, because they were expecting big changes to happen today also. They have also spent and invested a lot of their personal funds into continuing said activities, not only in Eastern Europe, but also in the Middle East, and with the big promise of big money. Are they going to wait it out to the next new moon special alignment, Saturn's ring showing up and the alleged at the same time as the alleged invasion of 1996? Oh, maybe. Who knows? They seem to be, really good at waiting. I'm assuming if they don't do something pretty quickly, they're all going to be waiters as well. I'm not so sure I'd like to be served food by these people, but looks like they might be waiters themselves pretty soon if nobody does anything. As for the craziness that is the United States right now, oh, God, it just keeps getting worse. These crazy executive orders, the crazy doji people admitting that they have been bankrupt now, that the United States government is bankrupt, holding on one bit at a time, starting crazy rumors. Here's the other crazy rumor. If you've been around in this world for a long time, the Amero is back. Talk about launching an Amero. There's a Amero on file in the Golden Age AI. No, there isn't. Is a fake mirror that you fell for. Yep, there was a fake mirror that you fell for that you really couldn't put anything in or not. But, hey, they have also been talking to the Asians about the fact that they're going to pay everybody in rainbow dollars. Rumor allegedly was started about 30 days ago by Janet Yellen. Apparently, they were all asking where this money actually is and what system is it in. And she said she'd get back to everybody because nobody really knows what they're talking about. They're just told to keep everybody on the hook as long as they possibly can. There are also a lot of talks going on behind the scenes between Turkey and Iraq right now, and with the Syrians right in the middle. So they've got their American Arab in there, and he's running around talking to officials in Iraq and also in Turkey as to what they would like to see happen. Eventually, if the Taliban does what the Taliban says they're going to do, then everybody will find out that this guy is definitely not working for the freedom of the Syrian people in any way, shape, or form, or in the rest of the Middle East for that matter. And it's definitely coming to a head. as of this evening, my time, meaning within the last hour or two, there has been, let's just say, some very heated arguments. The other thing that's become apparent is this administration there, their American administration in Syria, has no intention whatsoever of doing anything for the Syrian people. Things are just escalating and getting worse. And yeah, so true to form, they always show their colors, don't they? And this guy is doing that there. In Eastern Europe, remember, this is not Putin anymore. They keep showing the face everywhere, but it is not the original Putin. Hasn't been for a long time. And I would say the arguments going on there are very interesting. Ukraine was expecting to get payment from the Americans. Apparently, they have announced even publicly that they are going to resume aid to the Ukraine. Ukraine is still waiting for aid from the last administration, so there's not much going on there. As far as the world is concerned, the Rothschilds still think that they had some hope there of using these old AIs to complete the Marduk plan of burning the world to the ground and living in these special little utopias that they thought that they were creating for themselves. But now they don't have an out. So you know what, Deep State, if you happen to be listening to this, welcome to the world that you have created. And you are going to stay here with us because some of you don't even deserve to die. You deserve to live here and breathe the same air we have to breathe without any other options. No help from the outside, and I'm sure you don't believe me at this moment, but come the 29th of March, maybe you'll believe me a little more. Maybe it will become a little more apparent that, well, sometimes a blonde lady knows how to run an operation, even a global operation. And that's why I'm the director of the GIA. There you have it. So on that note, I expect some more operations to be run over the weekend. We're not stopping as far as let's just put it, our own version of Source's removal of all things in his way or its way over the weekend, and we'll continue to work throughout the weekend, of course, as always, and through Monday when we talk next. So hopefully we'll have some more information and definitely some more results, because I know we're just days away now based on the fact they sat back and watched us create. We're days away from seeing some real progress as far as turning a corner, at least financially speaking. On that note, this has been the GIA report for the 14th of March, 2025, and I look forward to speaking to you guys on Monday.